If you're thinking about buying the Nikon Z6 III, hold up, because this review might just change your mind. I'm going to reveal some surprising truths about Nikon's latest mirrorless camera that you absolutely need to know before dropping over $2,000. But here's what surprised me. Despite its powerhouse specs and glowing Amazon rating, the Z6 III isn't the flawless beast it's often made out to be. In fact, some serious quirks and compromises could ruin your shooting experience. Stick with me to find out why this camera could be a blessing or a headache depending on what you value most. Now I know what you're thinking. Is this just another don't buy review focusing on nitpicks? Nope. I'm talking straight from test shoots, deep tech analysis, and user feedback, peeling back the layers of this camera that Nikon is calling a game changer. So whether you're a pro videographer hunting for insane 6K video at 60 frames per second, or a serious photographer craving a camera with improved autofocus and low-light prowess, this review will help you decide if the Z6 III is worth your hard-earned cash, or if you should look elsewhere. Here's a quick question to chew on. How much would you sacrifice usability for specs? Because Nikon packs an arsenal of features, but some come with trade-offs nobody highlighted. By the end, you'll know if you're buying a practical tool or a flashy gadget. Let's dive in. The Nikon Z6 III is built around a mighty 24.5 MP partially stacked CMOS sensor paired with the EXPEED7 processor. And on paper, it looks like a dream come true. The camera boasts continuous shooting up to 120 frames per second with its electronic shutter. And Nikon's autofocus system is approximately 20% faster and smarter than the previous Z6 II, thanks to deep learning technology that recognizes faces as tiny as 3% of the frame. Impressive, right? Plus, its ISO sensitivity rockets up to 204,800 in extended mode, theoretically allowing you to shoot in near darkness without losing detail. But here's the kicker. These specs don't always translate into smooth real-world performance. For example, the ISO promise sounds fantastic, but pushing the camera beyond ISO 64,000 results in images riddled with noise and mushy details. It's like the Z6 III says, "Come shoot in the dark," then hands you a flashlight with dying batteries. If you're expecting clean, usable images at ultra-high ISO, you might be setting yourself up for disappointment. On the autofocus front, Nikon's claim of enhanced subject recognition is mostly true. The autofocus system does perform admirably in good lighting and locks quickly onto faces. However, under tricky low-light conditions or with fast-moving subjects, the camera occasionally hunts or shifts unpredictably, undermining your shots. I found this particularly frustrating during a sports shoot where split-second focus precision is key. Nikon's so-called blazing fast AF wasn't quite keeping pace. And yes, I'm looking at you, sports photographers and action shooters watching this right now. Speaking of video capabilities, the Z6 III is no slouch either. It offers internal 6K 60p NRAW recording, oversampled 4K UHD footage, plus a super slow motion mode at full HD 240p. The inclusion of high-res zoom up to 2x digital zoom during HD recording and 1.4x during 4K is a clever touch for videographers aiming for versatility without swapping lenses. And did I mention professional audio features like a line-in jack and monitoring tools? This camera was clearly built with filmmakers in mind. However, and this is a big however, there's a catch that might leave videographers scratching their heads. This much power doesn't come without compromises on heat management. During extended 6K or 4K recording sessions, the camera heats up quickly and can trigger thermal shutdowns, cutting your recording short right when you're into a crucial take. If you're shooting long interviews, weddings, or events, this can be a deal breaker. So, is the Z6 III a cinema powerhouse if it can't sustain recording times? That's up for debate. The electronic viewfinder, EVF, is another highlight you'll love if you're shooting in bright environments. The 5760K dot resolution, combined with a max brightness of 4000 nits, means you get a sharp, vibrant view with clear details even outdoors under glaring sunlight. I've personally never seen an EVF this bright or color accurate, and the 120 FPS refresh rate makes tracking fast action genuinely comfortable. But, and yes, there's a but, the EVF's impressive specs come with a price. Battery life tends to take a hit. The Z6 III offers reasonable endurance, but heavy EVF use drains it faster than you might expect, so I recommend investing in extra batteries. Now, before we get to the conclusion, who exactly is the Nikon Z6 III for? This camera clearly targets hybrid shooters who split their time between photography and video. If you want a versatile camera that can deliver stunning 24.5 MP stills and pro-grade video without lugging two separate setups, this might be just the ticket. Also, if you're already invested in Nikon Z-mount lenses, this is a seamless upgrade that leverages your glass collection perfectly. On the flip side, if you shoot primarily sports or fast action photography, the autofocus, while improved, is still occasionally unreliable for critical moments, and videographers needing marathon recording sessions might want to shop around due to the thermal limitations. Turning back to photographers, if you heavily rely on extreme low-light shooting or high ISO cleanliness, other models may yield better results. Here's a little story to illustrate the balance. A friend of mine is a wedding videographer who switched to the Z6 III for its fantastic video specs and color science. But at one event, he had to stop recording because of overheating twice, insertion of awkward technical difficulties, pauses in the middle of vows is not a good look. Meanwhile, a wildlife photographer I know uses the Z6 III mostly for daytime shooting and portraits, and raves about the EVF clarity and fast autofocus at regular light. Context is king. A quick joke break. Why did the camera get a ticket? Because it's shot in slow motion. And speaking of shooting slow motion, the Z6 III's ability to capture full HD at 240 FPS is fantastic for creative effects, perfect for anyone wanting to slow down those dramatic moments, from splashing water to skateboard tricks. Another fun tidbit: Nikon's flexible picture control system lets you craft custom color profiles and directly upload them to the camera. So if you want bright poppy colors or muted cinematic tones, you're in control. Customization is king in today's DSLR and mirrorless world, and the Z6 III doesn't disappoint here. Alright, let's get real about price. At $2196.95, the Nikon Z6 III sits firmly in the high-end tier, definitely not a casual buy. But for that price, you get cameras from competitors that sometimes offer more specialized features, like longer battery life, better heat management, or faster autofocus for sports. So the question remains, are you buying the Z6 III's versatility or just buying into the Nikon brand? Here's another joke to lighten up. Why did the photographer break up with the Nikon? Because it couldn't focus on their relationship. But seriously, if you do buy into the Z6 III, treat it well and know its limits, and you'll have a camera that punches well above its weight. So to wrap this up, should you buy the Nikon Z6 III? If you're a hybrid creator needing high-quality video and stills combined with excellent EVF brightness, improved but not perfect autofocus, and you don't mind managing heat and battery demands, then yes, you'll love this camera. But if you're on a tight budget, shoot mainly sports or nighttime wildlife, or need the absolute longest video recording times, look before you leap. Remember, no camera is perfect. Every model has compromises, and the Nikon Z6 III is no exception. It offers a brilliant mix of performance and features, but with a few quirks you need to understand to avoid frustration. If you want a powerhouse hybrid that handles a variety of shooting scenarios and you're prepared to manage a couple of quirks, this is a solid choice. And lastly, If you want the best price on the Nikon Z6 III, check the link in the description below. We've rounded up the latest deals to make sure you don't overspend on this impressive piece of gear. So go ahead, make your choice informed. Thanks for watching and happy shooting.